He stood up to explain to Jen that Maggie, like a detective, was sensitive to the women around, given his ex was a master of plot twists. She cheated 9 days before their wedding, taking his belongings as wedding gifts. This left him in a rut. So Maggie was always tense about women around him, Jen listening to James' story like a soap opera. Her heart ached with empathy, encouraging her, "You will find your true love again, just give yourself another shot." Faced with true love, she wanted to seize it but feared James' disgust if he saw the truth. As someone who never lies, she never imagined things could become as twisted as a soap opera plot. Weighing her options, she decided that after tomorrow's ceremony, she would finally spill the beans about her true identity to James. But first, Jen realized she needed a dress, so she invited James to join her for a shopping spree in the city bright and early the next morning. James was in a great mood today, practically wagging his tail at her invitation. In fact, under Jen's encouragement, his creativity was firing on all cylinders. Just as they were about to set off, Maggie suddenly zoomed in like she had turbocharged her entrance. She had received some juicy gossip from Jen's co-workers last night. Maggie was furious, vowing to expose Jen and not let James be taken for a ride. The butler realized things were spiraling out of control. She couldn't bear watching the romance shatter, so pretended to take Maggie out. Butler listened to all of Maggie's accusations and wasn't really shocked. He candidly told her, "I already knew the truth." He urged his wife not to blow Jen's cover, reminding her that Jen wasn't just in it for the money, she was a genuine beneficiary. Moreover, having Jen around really improved James. Maggie disagreed with the butler on this one. Using her wild imagination, she envisioned Jen as a mysterious agent and decided she must stop them from ever getting together. So Maggie ignored the butler's warnings and followed them to the mall, launching into a shopping battle. At the mall, Jen tried on multiple gowns, and Maggie noticed she was the ideal type, jealousy rising within. Each time Jen slipped into a new outfit, Maggie responded with denial, imagining Jen must be up to something sinister. Ultimately, with James' unwavering support, Jen settled on a red dress, letting out a small sigh of relief. Back in the changing room, Jen received a signal, excitedly opening her phone to find messages from co-workers like a surprise box. Her heart was filled with joy, but as the messages unfolded, her mood sank like a rock in a pool of negativity. Her co-workers said Harvey and the boss recovered, heading to Scotland for the award. To make matters worse, Maggie had heard last night's gossip, making Zhang's heart sink at its complexity. So, Zhang brought Maggie into the changing room, apologizing and explaining that it was never her intention to mislead James. After an emotional exchange, they agreed Zhang must confess her true identity to James before the awards. Back home, Zhang was still in a bind. James valued honesty too much, and she feared that revealing the truth could cost her everything. But remaining silent meant deceit. Summoning her resolve with a hint of hope, she walked up to James to confess, only to find him excitedly sharing his creative insights. Little did she know, revealing the truth to James could jeopardize her creative spark. Just then, the butler appeared on cue, calling James away to take an editor's phone call, leaving Zhang feeling immensely let down. Watching James walk away and glancing at a disappointed Maggie upstairs, she felt incredibly aggrieved but had no choice. She dashed back to James. But just as she approached James and was about to speak, she was interrupted once more. And at that moment, looking at Jane's face beaming with joy, both of them couldn't help but feel hesitant to disturb this precious tranquility and happiness. When James made an early appearance as a guest of honor, Maggie seized the opportunity to chat with Zhang. "It's your first encounter. Being with him is crucial for it to be genuine. Thanks, but he needs the truth, so you must tell him. You must encourage him to find his authentic self, but he needs to put in the effort as well." Zhang slipped into those exquisite dresses, her heart racing uncontrollably. At this moment, she realized she was facing the most daunting challenge yet, adjusting her mindset as they embarked on a journey into the unknown together. Upon reaching the venue, Zhang first approached her boss and supervisor, only to discover they didn't recognize her at all. They mistook her for a celebrity, completely forgetting the time she delivered food to them, making Zhang feel as tiny as a speck of dust in their eyes. In an instant, Zhang's courage evaporated, and she sought out James to explain. Just then, it was James' turn to speak, and her explanation was postponed once more. Just as James wondered why Zhang wasn't taking the stage, the real Harvey made a sudden appearance. With no way out, Zhang had to come clean to James, who felt utterly devastated after hearing her confession. Past experiences made him highly sensitive to women's lies, leading to a heated argument with Jiang. He didn't want to hear another word from Jiang, believing that the prettier a woman, the better she could lie. In his rage, he tore up the poem he had written for Jiang and walked away, leaving her feeling utterly alone. At this point, the boss finished speaking. JM's turn, but he left, filling Jiang with despair. Listening to the repeated prompts from the stage, she realized everything stemmed from her actions and must end with her as well. Summoning her courage, she opened her bag, pulled out her notebook filled with her creative works, and marched boldly to the stage, trembling yet unafraid. On stage, she read her work in place of James, while feeling the intense gaze of the butler and his wife directed at her just outside the door.